I have this data set that I generated from a database, and it looks this way. It's a table that has information on name, gender, department, salary, location, and start date. It's a human resources data set, as you can see. But I need to show you a quick trick on how you might be able to intuitively read and combine formulas in Excel, because for a lot of people it might look a little bit complicated looking at it from the outside, but it's actually much more easier. It's quite similar to the algebra that we did in high school, where you have values for x and y, and then you can create a formula. For example, if x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 1, you can create a formula with 2x plus y, which is equal to 7. It's pretty much what nesting functions in Excel is. It's where you combine multiple functions to provide you with your desired output. So let's start with this data set. What I'm trying to achieve here is the name column. I need to remove the 45. As you can see, every single record on the name column, it has the first name, the last name, and a number 45. I'm not 100% sure why the database keeps on generating this report with the number 45 behind the names. And this actually gives me a second idea. I will do a second video showing you how we can use a macros to clean out this number 45, to clean the entire data set actually. And because it's if you do a repetitive task and you do it constantly, and whenever you generate this particular report, like in my own case, whenever I generated this report from the database, it always gave me this sheet with the rows that I do not need, the empty rows, but I'm going to come back to that. So on column B, that I'm trying to take out the number 45, the easiest way to get that done, just so you know, the fastest and easiest way is to come on the home tab, and then you go to the editing group and you select the find and select ribbon. I use an old version of Excel 2016, so it might be a little bit different in yours. And you select the replace option. So when you select on the replace option, I need to take out 45, and I'm going to be replacing that with nothing, with an empty string. So and that's it. Once you click on replace all, it's done. 1046 replacement. My data set begins at row number 3. Let me make sure that I have everything replaced, and it ends at row number 1049. So 1046 records replaced, like I thought. So that works out perfectly. I'm just going to use Ctrl Z to make the data set look like it was. Ctrl Z brings it back. But this time around, I want to try using Excel formulas to intuitively solve that problem. In this case, I'm going to use two functions, the find function and the replace function. I'm not even 100% sure if Excel has a find or a replace function, but I'm going to give it a try. Let me show you guys how I intuitively use functions to solve the problems. So what I'm trying to do, I already showed you the fastest way to get it done. You use the find and replace option, but this applies if you're using other functions or you're trying to combine other functions, and this is a technique you can use. So I'm going to start with the find, okay, equal to FIND. So when I click on find, Excel has a find option, a find formula. And before I put the parenthesis, open the parenthesis, I would read what this function does. Make sure you do that all the time. It says returns the starting position of the text string within another text string. So it returns the position of what I am looking for within this text string in B4, cell B4. So when I open the parenthesis, it has multiple arguments. In this case, 3 arguments. Make sure you not only read what that function does, but you read each of the arguments. Because if you follow this pattern, it almost guides you until you solve your problem. So remember what the find function does is it brings out a location. So we are looking for a number. So it says find text. What text am I looking for? I'm looking for the text in B2, okay, comma, within text. No, actually, find text should be what I'm looking for. So find text will be the 45. So I would open up my quotation and type in 45. Close the quote. But actually, one thing that I just observed is it looks like there is a space between the 45 in each record. So I will put that space before the 4. So that will be open quote, space 45, close quote. Right? Comma. So that's the text that I'm looking for. The first argument, find text. I'm looking for space 45. Within text, that's the second argument. That should be this. I'm looking for space 45 within this text. I hope that's intuitive enough. Comma. Start number. Now, one thing about Excel arguments is if it's in a square bracket, like the start number, it's optional. Okay. You don't have to use that third argument. But if it's not in a square bracket, then it's compulsory. You have to. In this case, I'm not 100% sure what start number is, so I'm not going to use that third argument. I'm going to close this. So when I close this, it shows me 11. I assume 11 is the position where the space 45 begins. But let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I was right. I was correct. So if I double click at the bottom right edge of this cell, it fills up the position where the space 45 begins in every single record. In this case, in number 13, with Adia pen writes space 45, the space 45 begins at position 16 or index number 16. And it does the same thing all the way to the bottom. Now that we have a find function that located the position of the text we're trying to extract, let's see what the replace function does. I'm going to use Ctrl Z so that the formula is only in cell C4. So let's find the replace function now. The replace function, I'm not sure how to use it, but I'll just guess I'll put it in at the beginning. So I type in replace. Hopefully there is an actual replace. Yes, there is. I was going to say, I hope there is a replace function in Excel. I typed it in and there is a replace function. This is the first time I'm having to use the find or the replace functions. I'm just showing you how I intuitively use random formulas in Excel to solve problems. I've done this multiple times. And as a data analyst, these are some tools that can help you in your job. So the replace function, once again, I have to read what it does. It replaces part of a text string with a different text string. Perfect. So for example, if I'm going to use the replace function in this, I can use that function to replace part of the text string, which is the space 45, with something else. So when I open the parenthesis, old text, I guess the old text is what I need to change. So I click on B4, comma, start number. Perfect. The start number, intuitively, I think it means the position of the item that I'm trying to remove. And with my find function, I already created the position of the item that I'm trying to remove, space 45. And that position worked for every single record. Like you saw earlier, Some positions were 11, some were position 16, 17, 18, depending on how long the name column is, right? So the start position will be this function, which generates the position for each record of the space 45. After that, I'll type in comma. It says num cars. I believe this means number characters, or maybe number of characters. Yeah, number of characters. Trust me, this is all intuition. First time I'm using this function. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 arguments, right? So I'm on the third argument, number of characters. I assume it's num characters. I assume it's the number of characters. So I'm going to use 3 because I have 3 characters that I'm working with, and those characters are space, 4, and 5. Then I click on comma. New text. What text do I need to replace what I just highlighted, which is the space 45 with? I need to replace that space 45 with an empty string. To type in an empty string, you simply open a quote and you close the quote with nothing inside. If you put any value within this quote, Excel will replace space 45 with the value within the quote. So in this case, I put an empty quote, which is an empty string, and I type in enter. And guess what? Boom, it worked. So I click on the flash fill option at the bottom right corner of the cell, double click, and it generates the same formula for every single record all the way to the bottom. And as you can see here, everything looks perfect. So this is one of the tricks that you can use to understand how to manipulate functions in Excel. Sometimes it's all about intuition, and you just need to read the definition of each function and also read each argument within each function. I hope this works. This helps someone using Excel in their data analytical career. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace.